Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for today, Monday, November 20th. If you are joining me for the very first time, this is how today's video will be structured. There will be no recap for today since we have not had a video since Friday. But we'll get over to the injuries in play for today's slate. It's an 8-game main slate in total. After that, we'll go over to DraftKings and FanDuel and talk about my core picks for both sites. It's going to be one player at point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. If you're interested in more of my in-depth player pool, also be sure to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/CoachCraigSports. But without further ado, we'll get started with the injuries for today. Like I said, it's an 8-game main slate. There are 5 teams today that are on back-to-backs, so I will not be talking too much about their injuries, but all the injury updates throughout the day will be listed down in the comments, so definitely be sure you're checking up down there as the day moves along. We're going to start off with the Nuggets and the Pistons. Both these teams are on back-to-backs. We do know that Jamal Murray is out once again for the Nuggets, though. And then the Pistons side, Bogdanovich is out once again. It looks like Morris and Harris will be doubtful, and then kind of all the other guys up in the air. So we'll keep an eye out on that as the day moves along. Then we move over to the Milwaukee Bucks, who were without Marshawn Beauchamp, Jay Crowder, and Chris Livingston once again. So no real changes there. And then for the Washington Wizards, DeLon Wright out once again. And then John Davis listed as questionable with an elbow injury once again. Hasn't been a major part of their rotation either way, though. Boston Celtics are on the back-to-back. We'll see what that looks like as the day moves along. Probably getting like Al Horford getting rolled out on the back-to-back for rest purposes. We'll see if anybody else joins him tonight, though. And then on the Charlotte Hornets side, without James Bouknight, Cody Martin, Frank Ntilikina, Nick Richards, and Terry Rozier once again. So no major changes there. We did get Miles Bridges back. I think that was Friday when he came back. And he's played pretty significant minutes since he's been back. Then we move down to Sacramento Kings. They are one of the other teams there on the back-to-back. We'll see whether or not Kevin Huerter plays today. He did not play yesterday. If he doesn't play and Chris Duarte gets the start, he's going to be a very good value option once again today. On the Pelican side, they're without CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, and Larry Nance. And then we get Jose Alvarado and Matt Ryan, both listed as questionable, kind of bench pieces to be had there. Alvarado hasn't played all season, so probably not somebody we're getting to. And then Matt Ryan, somebody we're not really getting to unless somebody else gets ruled out anyways. For the Miami Heat, they're without R.J. Hampton and Tyler Hero once again, so no real changes there. For the Chicago Bulls, we got Dalen Terry listed as doubtful once again due to his knee injury, and Alex Caruso listed as probable with his toe injury. He's been back for a couple games now. Then we move down to the New York Knicks. Evan Fournier listed as questionable with an ankle injury. Hasn't been a big part of the rotation either way this season. And then Quentin Grimes, he's still dealing with that wrist injury. He's missed the last couple of games. We'll see whether or not he's back tonight or not. If he's ultimately out tonight, Dante DiVincenzo should get the start in his place once again. And DiVincenzo, Manuel Quickley, and Josh Hart would all see extra minutes at that. Then we move over to the Minnesota Timberwolves just without Clark and McLaughlin once again, so no changes there whatsoever. For the Clippers, we got Brandon Boston and Myson Plumlee out once again, so pretty much what we saw out of them in the last game, especially with Russell Westbrook moving to the bench unit. And then on the Spurs side, we got Devin Vassell listed as doubtful once again due to that groin injury. So probably seeing pretty similar lineup to what we saw in their most recent game as well. Houston Rockets are on the back-to-back. We know Tari Eason's going to be out today for rest or leg injury management, whatever you want to call it. So he will not be there for their bench today. We'll see about these other guys as the day moves along. And then on the Warriors side, we got Draymond Green out due to suspension. Gary Payton II is also out. And then Jackson Davis is listed as questionable, but not a major part of the rotation either way, though. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on all the injuries for today. Obviously, the back-to-back teams are going to be a big piece for the slate overall that we're watching, so I will leave those down in the comments as the day moves along, as well as all the other injury updates as they do come out, as well as the starting lineups as they do get announced tonight as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there. So with that being said, we get over to the DraftKings side. Not a lot of value out there today, but we'll start at the point guard position with Alex Caruso. You can play him at point guard. You can play him at shooting guard. He's played pretty well, been in the starting lineup, I believe, the last 2 games for the Chicago Bulls. One of those games he did play 29 minutes on a back-to-back, so it's safe to assume that he is pretty healthy at this point in time. And I also believe that game was against the Miami Heat, the same team they're going against today. $4,600, reasonable price tag there. Guy that got projected right around 23, 24 points tonight. Does offer a little bit of flexibility with that point guard and shooting guard eligibility. Maybe there's another value that opens up throughout the day that makes him look a little bit worse. And then we slide them in. Maybe it's Chris Duarte if he ultimately ends up playing in place of Kevin Huerter if Kevin Huerter is out once again tonight. Then we move down to shooting guard with Duncan Robinson at $5,900, looking for 29, 30 points on him. And since he's been in that starting lineup, he's hit the points that we're looking for out of him today 4 out of 5 times in the most recent 4 games. So I currently have him projected for 32 points. He's shooting the 3-ball really well. He's playing big minutes. And, the Chicago Bulls are not great on defense whatsoever. So Duncan Robinson's going to look pretty good once again today. And then on the opposite end of that game, we're going to go to DeMar DeRozan. Came back from that personal matter, but scoring the ball pretty well. The big thing for him this year, he's not getting many assists. He's not getting many rebounds. If he can get up that just a little bit today, he's been playing a little bit more at that 4 spot too as well. So the rebounds have been going up just a little bit as of late. Looking for 36, 37 points at him. Currently, I'm projected for 37 tonight. Maybe a little bit of a slower pace matchup against the Miami Heat. But if he can score the ball pretty well out there once again versus them, if he gets a couple extra rebounds, going to look like pretty good value at this price tag overall. Obviously, one that could change throughout the day as well. And then at power forward, we're moving down to Miles Bridges for the Charlotte Hornets. They go against the Boston Celtics tonight. He's $5,700. Looking for 28, 29 points out. He's been back for 2 games. He's been playing big minutes, 32, 33 minutes in those 2 games, I do believe. And you see that he's averaging 33 fantasy points per game so far this season. That's just kind of a misprice at this point in time. Currently, I'm projected for 31 myself. Definitely gives us a little bit of upside for more, though, as well, especially if this game can remain competitive, which has kind of been the big question mark for the Hornets most of the season, though. But, Bridges, with as much time as he's missed, he might still get a little bit of extra run, even if the game is not quite competitive. Then last but not least, we're going to get down to Alperen Sengun for the Houston Rockets going against the Golden State Warriors today, $7,900. Looking for 39, 40 points out. I'm averaging 41 on the season. Currently, I'm projected for 42 fantasy points today. Coming off another strong performance, he's been doing pretty well as of late. Going against Golden State, a little bit of a pace-up matchup to be had there at that. Should be a favorable matchup at that center position, whether he's going against Kevon Looney, whether it's Dario Saric, or someone else guarding him tonight. So definitely do like the upside that he could present. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have this year, you have $18,600 remaining, $6,200 per player. So a little bit of room of flexibility remaining. Kind of looks like a balance build type of day at this point in time, but obviously we'll probably have some value that does open up throughout the day, especially with those 5 back-to-backs as we get those injury reports and news coming out throughout the day. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core 5 picks over there as well. So at the point guard position, we're going to start off with LaMelo Ball here. Like I said, with Miles Bridges on DraftKings, you just kind of hope this game remains competitive, but LaMelo Ball has been great as of late. And at $9,700, we're looking for 48, 49 fantasy points out. I'm currently projected for 49.50 tonight. He definitely does have a little bit of upside for more as well, especially if this game remains competitive. He's probably going to be a big reason why. Then we move down to shooting guard with Pat Connaughton. You can also play him at small forward. He's $4,300. Just not a lot of guys left at his position, Chris Middleton's only playing like 22 minutes a night. So you got 26 minutes per night that have to go to that small forward position either way. Malik Beasley, you never know how well he's going to play. So if Pat Connaughton's in that closing lineup, looks pretty good too as well. There's no Marshawn Beauchamp. There's no Jay Crowder around. So Pat Connaughton's just getting some extra minutes at this point in time. And at $4,300, you're only looking for 21, 22 points out. Currently, I'm projected for 23 tonight. So he's just kind of a decent value play, at least early on in the day. Maybe that changes as the day moves along with some of the news that does come out as well. Then we move down to small forward with Andrew Wiggins at $5,200. Looking for 26 fantasy points out. He's played really bad so far this season, but should be a pretty good pace-up spot between the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets today. Probably one of the higher scoring games on the day in total. And last game, Andrew Wiggins finally remembered how to shoot. So, yeah, if we can get a little bit of that performance out of him once again, it's going to look like one of the better value plays overall today. But I'm being a little bit pessimistic. $5,200. We're looking for 26 out. Currently, I'm projected for 28, 29. But if he remembers how to shoot once again, probably going to clear 30 rather easily. Then we move down to the power forward position. I'm going right back to Aaron Gordon today. I kind of was debating between him and Isaiah Stewart. Obviously, Stewart depends just a little bit more on that Jalen Duren nose, so figured Gordon would be a safer guy to talk about at least early on today. He's in a very good spot versus the Detroit Pistons today. Probably going to get a lot of Kevin Knox on him, which seems like a really favorable matchup at that. He's done pretty well when Jamal Murray's been out. The last 3 games have been down just a little bit, so maybe a little bit of a buy low here. Looking for 34, 35 fantasy points out. Currently, I'm projected for 35. Definitely offers us some upside for more, though, as well. Then last but not least, we're going to Alperen Sengun once again, $8,300. Looking for 41, 42 points out. Currently, I'm projected for 42 tonight. Do like the matchup against Golden State. A little bit of pace-up spot there as well. Going against guys like Kevon Looney, Dario Saric, and maybe somebody else guarding him, but do like that matchup for him overall. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, he's going to look like a really good play, and he's been playing really well as of late. But with that being said, if you go to these 5 players that I do have listed here on FanDuel, you'll have $25,600 remaining, $6,400 per player. So like I said, not a lot of value out there at this point in time. It's looking more like a balanced build type of slate. But as that news comes out, as those injury reports come out throughout the day, that definitely should change and open up some value, which opens up some other pay-up options for us as well. But with that being said, these are my core picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, November 20th. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to put them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. I also do ask that you note whether those questions are more FanDuel or DraftKings specific, just so I can best help you as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then with that being said, I'll be listing all the injury reports, all the injury news throughout the day down in the comments, as well as those starting lineups as they do get announced throughout the night. And then I will also be posting my updated core about 15 to 20 minutes prior to lock as a pinned comment. If there's any other additional changes to that throughout the night, I'll leave them as replies to that comment as well. So definitely be sure you're checking up there as we do get closer to lock, just so you get the best news and information as possible to best build out your lineups for tonight's slate. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have NBA DFS Core Picks Monday through Friday. Typically doing an NFL DFS player pool on Saturdays. Saturday I wasn't feeling the greatest, so I did skip over that this most recent week. But the NFL DFS cheat sheets are up on the Sports Affiliation website as well, so definitely be sure to check them out if that's something you're into. That's up for both FanDuel and DraftKings. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links down in the description below for BetUS, Prize Picks, and Parlay Play. If you are a brand new user, make a first-time deposit, you will get a pretty good first-time deposit match, up to $100 on both Prize Picks and Parlay Play. And then over on BetUS, it's 125% of your first deposit. If you guys have any questions regarding that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me on the comments or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport. Be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS tonight.